Welcome aboard Rocket Ship, the platform with the most relevant content for competitive examination. As part of our answer writing series for Civil Services Mains Examination, we'll take up a question in General Studies Paper 1. This is the kind of question that can be expected in the mains. So, let us begin with the reading out the question. We observe an evolution in the theme and style of Buddhist art with evolution of the doctrine of Buddhism. Elucidate. So the question asks you that you have to explain with examples, that is elucidate how Buddhist art evolved with evolution in the doctrine of Buddhism. We certainly have some idea that Buddhism evolved through many stages, some of which are Hinayan, Mahayana, Vajrayana and so on. Anyway, so how do we introduce our answer? We can start with the very beginning of the Buddhism, starting with Dhammachakra Pravartan at Sarnath and the Buddha's first sermon. We can discern a number of stages in the evolution of Buddhist doctrine. And as we can see, the adjoining graphic depicts some of the stages. We will read out these stages one by one. The first one is the initial Orthodox Buddhism. The Orthodox Buddhism was marked by non-ritualism. It was non-ritualistic in the sense that the Buddha emphasized on conduct rather than on rituals like fire sacrifices or yajna and so on. It was non-deistic in the sense that the Buddha did not take a clear position on the existence or non-existence of God and deities. So it was a non-deistic religion, and because it was non-deistic, there was not need of icon worship. So it did not advise icon worship either. We don't know for sure whether it was explicitly against icon worship, but as far as we know, that it did not advise it either. There was no need of icon worship because there was no gods in the first place. Then comes Ashokan Buddhism. What Ashokan Buddhism sees a change here, that Ashoka explicitly affirms the divinity of the Buddha. He calls the Buddha Bhagwan. So this is the beginning of deism, the beginning of deities in Buddhism. So with Ashokan period, we see the start of deism, the introduction of deism in Buddhism. Then comes Gandharan Buddhism of Kanishka's period, of Kushana period. And here the Buddha he began to be considered a godhead. That is an exalted God who was first among equals among a number of deities. Then comes Mahayana Buddhism of the late period of Kanishka and thereafter. And with Mahayanism emerges the concept of Bodhisattva. The Bodhisattva, what are the Bodhisattva? They are emanation of some particular characteristics of the Buddha. For an example, the Bodhisattva of compassion is Bodhisattva Padmapani, as we will shortly see. Then comes Vajrayana Buddhism. We probably know that the Vajrayana Buddhism had tantric influence, and as we know that Tantra explicitly affirms the divinity of females. There are female deities in Tantra who are intrinsic to the practice of Tantra. So they were female godhead and deities who began to be introduced in Buddhism also. So with Vajrayana we see tantric influence as well as female deities. Now we will take up these stages and the related evolution in Buddhist art one by one. Beginning with Orthodox Buddhism, as we know that the Buddha emphasized on conduct rather than on rituals, he left the query about the existence of God or deities unanswered, as we have already discussed in the passing. And so it was a non-deistic Dhamma. It was more about common conduct rather than particular rituals, and he did not explicitly say whether there were gods or not. So there was no need of erecting the statues of God, the Buddha, because he was not a god in the general sense. So it was actually an iconic phase. Then comes Emperor Ashoka, and Ashoka explicitly addresses the Shakyamuni as Bhagwan. And this is the start of deism in Buddha. And with this, Buddha starts to be depicted in the Buddhist art. Buddhist art develops around the time of Ashoka. But even during the Ashoka's period, it was an iconic. However, we know probably that the Buddha and the various incidents in his life were depicted by various symbols. So it was symbolism also. And we can give the example of the Dhamma Chakra, the wheel, which signifies his first sermon. There were various symbols like the wheel, which signifies his first sermon. This is not in order. It is not in a chronological order. We also have the example of the peepal tree, the Bodhi tree, which signifies his enlightenment, and also the horse, which signifies his great renunciation or his Mahabhiniskraman. So it was symbolism through various symbols that various phases of the Buddha's life were depicted during the art of Ashokan period and the post-Ashoka period. Then comes Gandharan Buddhism. Gandharan Buddhism, which starts around the time of Kushana rule, because the Kushana held sway over Gandhara also. With Gandharan Buddhism, we see the introduction of foreign elements. With Gandharan Buddhism, some foreign elements were introduced in Buddhism also. And here the Buddha is affirmed as a godhead. We will see shortly why. The Buddhist art of Gandhara depicts the Buddha in the style of Apollo. Apollo is the godhead in Roman pantheon. Apollo is considered the prime god among the gods of Rome, and in a similar vein, the Buddha started to be considered a godhead in the Gandharan Buddhism, in the doctrine of Gandharan Buddhism. And there is greater emphasis on the Buddha, the godhead, as we have just seen. Unlike Shakyamuni, the rishi, as in Mathura. What we want to say here, if you were to look at the Mathura specimen of Mathura Buddhist art, what you will discern, what you will see there, that the Mathura artist almost always depicts Bhagwan Buddha as a mendicant, as a rishi, as someone is in meditation. But unlike Mathura art, the Gandhara art depicts Bhagwan Buddha as an exalted god, as a godhead. Next comes the period of Mahayanism, which starts around the later period of Kanishka's reign. And with Mahayanism emerges the concept of the Great Savior. Great Savior was a Bodhisattva who would assist the laity, the common man. The Bodhisattva, the Great Savior, would assist the common man in attaining liberation. This was unlike the doctrine of Hinayanism, which says that only those who were to stick to the conduct prescribed, you can say orthodox conduct prescribed, who could attain liberation. Unlike them, the Mahayanism had the position that even the common men, even the common people could attain liberation with the assistance of the great savior, the Bodhisattva. And again, Bodhisattvas become prominent in Buddhist art, one of whose examples is the Bodhisattva Padmapani, who is depicted at Ajanta cave of circa 5th century CE. Then there was expansion of theme to include this large retinue of deities. As the number of deities increased in Buddhism, the Buddhist art too expanded to include those deities in its themes. And moreover, miracle stories associated with these deities, as well as the Jataka stories, which were stories about the past life of the Buddha, past lives actually, past lives of Buddhas. So these miracle stories as well as the Jatakas started to be depicted in Buddhist art. Then comes Vajrayanism of 6th to 8th century CE. It actually starts around 5th century, but it matures around 6th to 8th century during Pala rule. We probably know this during Pala period, Pala reign. And what we see here, that the Vajrayan had tantric influence, and with tantric influence, they were introduced a female godhead, Mahatara, who was a counterpart of the Tantrism godhead deity, Mahakali, and there were other female deities like Vishakha, Hariti, etc., who too were introduced in Buddhism. And ultimately, Buddhist art expanded its theme to include these deities, this godhead, Mahatara, and the other female deities. And again, the adoption of mantras and other rituals which are central to Tantrism, and these mantras are often depicted in Buddhist art, as you can see in the Thangka painting of present day Ladakh and Tibet. Then Pala period Buddhist art erects icons of Mahatara and other female deities, as we have just seen. And moreover, there was adoption of Savai deities like Bhairava, who is central to Thangka and Pala painting. So this deity Bhairava, whose origin is in Saivism, was adopted in Buddhist pantheon, and he is depicted in the Buddhist art. So how do we sum up our answer? We can start with saying that the early Buddhism was you can say it was a sober religion, it was a sober doctrine with less emphasis on ritualism, as well as it was non-deistic in the sense that there was not gods per se in the early Buddhism. So there was no need of depiction of or erection of statues to represent the Buddha. With coming on a stage of Ashoka, we see that Ashoka explicitly affirms the divinity of Buddha, and the Buddha started to be considered a deity in his own right. So ultimately, Buddhist art began to depict him as God. With the coming of Mahayana and Gandhara Buddhism, there was coming on a stage of various bodhisattvas, and these bodhisattvas too were depicted in Buddhist art. With Vajrayanism, which started around 6th to 8th century CE, the tantric themes and the tantric style, etc., were introduced in the Buddhist art of that period, an example being the Pala period art. So this is how we sum up our answer. This is all for today. We meet again for the next lecture in a few days. Meanwhile, you go on to practice some answer writing as well as go through your notes, revise them. We wish you all the best. Thank you.